You ready?
Yes. All right. We're good.
All right, we're great. All right, we're recording? All right, you're all good? All right, good. Ryan, I'm happy you're cooking along, brother. I think this is good for you to go through. So this is one of my favorite dishes to cook, especially this time of year. As I told you earlier, I think this dish is one of the ultimate comfort foods for me. And if you've never had chicken and dumplings, I'm sorry for you, but I hope you get a chance to cook it, because this stuff is like a warm hug in the wintertime. It's kind of like a more hearty version of chicken noodle soup, but only a little bit better. And I'll show you a quick way to do it here. And Ryan went to the grocery store and bought his products, and I bought mine. I think looking at all this, obviously you can see they're all chopped up and mise en place out and ready to roll. I think I have just over $20 in this, and it's going to feed probably 6 to 8 people when it's all said and done. So when you break it down, that's actually a really reasonable bargain, and especially good for a college budget, right? And Ryan, what'd you say you have in it investment wise?
Maximum $15, probably more like 10, honestly.
$10. But you made your own biscuit dough. I bought gnocchi, right?
Yeah, but yeah, so gnocchi probably more like $15.
Yeah, you're much more dedicated than I. See, I'm old and lazy, so I look for a cheat code. Yep. And then I found a store-bought gnocchi that works really, really well, and we'll just toss them in at the end. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get started, buddy. Are you ready?
I am ready.
All right, so I got a nice wide pot. Honestly, any pot will do. The wider and flatter, the better. But it doesn't have to be like a rondo like this one. You can see how it's only like a few inches tall. It's like maybe 5 inches tall and like 1.5 feet wide. You could use any sauce pot, maybe specifically one you cook pasta in would be best. But I'm going to go ahead and turn on my heat. I recommend you do the same, but we're not going to get any cooking done.
All right.
Add your butter. I slam dunk mine like Kobe. So as that's starting to melt, Ryan, we're going to go ahead and add our mirepoix. And for you guys that aren't familiar, mirepoix is a mix of celery, onions, and carrots. Even though you probably don't know what that is, you would recognize the flavor instantaneously because it's the backbone for so many different dishes. Ashley, what do you know about mirepoix?
50, 25, 25.
That's it. 2 parts onion, 1 part carrot, 1 part celery. Not for this recipe, though. I went 1 part onion, 1 part carrot, and half a part celery. So 2, 2, and 1. But, you know, it's in Ashley, what do you use mirepoix for? Because you're at culinary school. So you guys use this often or no?
Yes, almost everything from soups and sauces and gravy. Foundation from French cuisine.
It is the foundation. You're absolutely right. And they call this group of vegetables aromatics, right? And it's a great name because as they cook, it really, really smells good. Lots of great aroma. So good. Now, Ryan, this is part of, we have a little bit of a lull, and we're starting out of the gates a little boring because we have to wait for our butter to melt, and we got to cook our vegetables down just a little bit so they release all that wonderful aroma, and we start the layering process of flavor.
Yeah.
But don't be fooled. After this happens, this recipe goes really quick. I think we can get this done in less than 30 minutes from start to finish.
Sweet. All right.
Yeah, that's not so bad, man.
No, that's pretty good.
Now, have you had chicken and dumplings before or no?
Oh yeah, my mom will cook them like once a year, usually around like wintertime. It's my younger sister's like favorite dish.
Nice.
So usually it's just like by chance if I'm home, I'll get it like once a year, and I love it. And I always forget that it exists, so I never make it.
Why does your mom only cook it once a year?
I don't think she remembers it exists either. It's whenever my little sister
wants it. Do you want me to have a talk with her?
Yes, please do.
Okay, I'll give her a call. Let her know, hey, listen, you got to up your game a little bit. In the fall and winter, you got to cook chicken and dumplings at least twice a month. So now we're starting to get a little action. You can see my butter's melted. I'm starting to sizzle a little bit. We can go ahead and add our salt now too. And the salt is actually going to help our vegetables cook down a little bit quick because it extracts the moisture out of the aromatics. And so it'll kind of start breaking them down, so to speak. Normally, I don't measure salt for recipes, but I'm humoring you guys on this one.
Yeah.
I always like to leave salt and pepper to taste, right? Because everybody likes differing amounts of salt. But what I find for most entry level cooks or those just getting started is they don't use enough salt because they're scared to put that much in there. Because a tablespoon seems like a mother load of salt to put in there, but it works out really well, I assure you. So I'm just evenly distributing my my butter and my aromatics, giving them a stir every couple minutes. I don't want any color on them just yet. If you do get color on them, that's fine. It doesn't, doesn't really matter that much. It's going to be a little deeper and richer.
Yeah.
But I'm going to try to avoid it if I can. And now you can see they're starting to swim around in fat and they're starting to leach moisture. We're going to let these go for like another 2 minutes, and then we're going to add our flour, and we're going to do what's called the Sanjay method.
Sweet.
Actually, that should take you back to skills 1.
It does.
Sanjay method is my favorite way to incorporate a roux. And if you guys are unfamiliar, tuning in or catching this recording, a roux is a mixture of flour and butter that thickens things. So if you like gravy or cream soups, those are all thickened by a roux. Whoa, steaming up.
Jeff, do you ever use a Monburr method?
Yeah, I don't love it though. I for whatever reason, I always resort to this method. And what you're talking about is mounting with butter, right? Like where you mix it up, the flour and butter with your fingers, and then whisk it in, right? You know what my problem with that, Ashley, is I always end up with dumplings. Meaning that I get flour and butter balls that end up cooking in ball form, and then they just end up being, like the dumplings in a soup. With this method, I almost never get lumps in my finished product, which I appreciate. Is that your preferred method?
No, I had to learn about it in a la carte when I screwed up some gravy.
Yeah, I've done that once or twice. Don't beat yourself up. It's those mistakes that create character, right?
Have you learned the most?
Yeah. I'm guessing you'll never, ever mess up gravy like that again.
Oh, God, no.
No.
It's the worst thing my chef never put in his mouth.
Oh, that's rough. I've been told that before. Sometimes I just like to knock you down a peg. All right, so we're sizzling pretty good here. We've let these go for about 3 to 4 minutes. We're going to go ahead and add our flour, Ryan. And what I like to do is just kind of sprinkle it. And then once you put it in there, immediately stir it up and try to get it evenly distributed. And it's going to dry up. You can see I'm starting to dry up like this.
Yeah.
And you can see it soaked up all the fat. I got a little flour. I'm in the bottom of my pan, and that's A-okay. And I'm just going to stir this for another like 30 seconds to a minute because I want to cook some of that starch out this way. And it gets a little toasty, believe it or not. And then it adds your layers of flavor. Now, for some things you're cooking, like it's not bad to let this completely brown, the flour. The downside is you lose some thickening power. But if you're making like a gumbo or something like that, like you let that flour get almost black. And then you have a really deep, dark, rich, and slightly bitter kind of concoction. And it lends itself very well to some preparations. But for this one, we're going to do what's called a blonde roux. So we're not going to let it really toast very much and to go too much longer. So and Ashley, you're going to have to bear with me here because I'm going to break the rules. Normally, you would add hot stock to a hot concoction. You never want to add cold stock. But if I add it in segments like this, just a little bit at a time, then I can let the pan is going to overcome the cold. So it'll stay hot. And then you're going to magic of the gelation right here. You can see how it's starting to get real thick. then once my hand recovers,
I don't know if this is happening for Ashley, but you're breaking up for me. It might be on my end though.
Yeah, it's on mine too.
Oh, all right. It's not just me.
Chef, you're frozen now. Oh, he got kicked off.
Oh, sweet.
Sorry, he'll join back.
We'll see.
Ryan, take over the show.
All right. Can you let me know if he comes back? Like if you see him try to get back in.
Yes, I will.
Sweet. Sounds good. So what kind of classes are you taking right now with the CIA?
In cuisines and cultures of the Mediterranean.
Okay.
So right now we're in Italy, and then Friday we start France.
Nice.
And then I go to cuisines and cultures of Asia, and then I start restaurants.
Very nice. Have you had like a favorite class so far?
Garde-manger.
What is that exactly?
It's keeper of the cold food, so it's smoking, curing, brining, preservation techniques. It was just amazing.
That sounds amazing.
It's so much fun. Do you think I should text him and tell him he got kicked off?
Yeah, why don't you text him? I guess there's a chance that you might not even realize. Thank you.
So what is your connection to chicken stew?
What'd you say?
Oh, chef said, let me back in.
Aha. Trying to get back in.
I don't see him on there.
There we go. Should be back.
Do you know what happened? And I'm back, right?
What'd you say?
My phone overheated because I was holding it too close to the pot. So I didn't see that coming. So I had to stick it in the freezer for a second. But I'm back. All good. And we were kind of at I just disappeared. I was like, oh no. I've had that happen to me before, but never when I was cooking. But the lesson learned, right? I'm going to stand a little closer or a little farther away. So you guys didn't miss much. All I did was add the remainder of my stock, and now I'm waiting to come up to 190 degrees so it thickens up.
Sweet. That was what, 48 ounces of stock?
48 ounces of stock. Yes, precisely. If you don't use precisely 48 ounces, it won't work. I'm kidding. There's nothing about this that's an exact science. This is one of those things where you measure stuff with your heart, right?
Absolutely.
So Ryan, you've taken the liberty. You got some extra ingredients there. You want to tell us what you got there in addition to chicken that I think is a great idea?
Yeah. So I went down to Kentucky a few weeks ago, and my aunt and uncle hooked me up with some baked country ham scraps. And she said that she always uses them to just like spice up any soup she's making. So I'm just tossing in there with the along with the chicken. So I'm going to be having what, ham and chicken dumpling soup.
Yeah, I love it. That's gonna give you some like. Oops, I'm echoing. That's gonna give you a really nice like smoky backbone to this.
Totally.
Also, adding pork products is always a good idea.
Yep.
Now you could always add bacon to this, or you could add a little cheese to it if you wanted to, or even some fresh herbs. Like tarragon would be amazing in this.
Mm-hmm.
I want to try to make sure my phone doesn't overheat again.
All right.
Yeah, it's our first time for everything, right? So as this heats up, you're going to notice it's starting to get thicker and thicker, right? And this is essentially how you make pretty much any good cream soup, whether it's cream of broccoli or cauliflower, mushroom, whatever, it doesn't matter. This style, the Sanjay method of thickening that up and then making what's called a velouté is almost always the backbone. I think there's a huge misconception out there that cream soups are based off of cream, and they're typically not. It's usually just an addition of cream at the end. So there's your fun fact.
It is a fun fact.
I know it's fun. That's why I mentioned it. I'm like a barrel of monkeys over here, brother. Also, I'm not sure a barrel of monkeys would be very fun. Like while we're just waiting for our stuff to heat up, can we talk about that?
Barrel.
Because last time I checked, monkeys are mean. They bite and stuff. Like I don't want a whole barrel of them.
Kind of scary.
Didn't you ever have that?
Yeah, I would have to say so. But I'm just checking the viscosity now, and it's I'm trying to show a little bit of it. It's starting to get a little creamier. And again, this starch will fully gelate right before it gets to boiling point. And that's when you're going to notice it's going to seize up. It's going to get real thick. And then once we add our dumplings, you're using biscuit dough, I'm using gnocchi. The starch from those dumplings is actually going to thicken it up more. So This becomes a really thick and hearty kind of, it's not a soup or a stew. It's kind of somewhere in between. Ashley, you ever eat chicken and dumplings? You're from Salem, Ohio. They have it down there, right?
Yeah, my grandma used to make it when we were little.
Yeah. Why didn't I get a call?
Didn't know you.
Well, I mean, I guess that makes sense. All right, that's a good excuse. I'll take that.
For Thanksgiving, though.
What's that?
I'm sure she'd be happy to have your family for Thanksgiving if you called.
Yeah. Unfortunately, we got to lay low. Our Thanksgiving is normally 25 to 30 people, and we're chopping it down to about 4 to 6. Only immediate family, and we're even making our father-in-law quarantine before he comes over.
That's how my family is this year. They're going to be 5, and I'll be stuck in New York.
Oh, man.
Oh, no. Are you guys going to do a small Friendsgiving, or what are you going to do up there?
The school puts on dinner, and then I'll do that, and then we're thinking about doing a Friendsgiving.
That's awesome. All right, so we're nice and thick here. I'm coming up to a boil. Everything's looking pretty good. And we only have, 5 ingredients left to add, Ryan? Like, we're almost home.
Sweet.
Yeah, no, not so bad, man. This is a pretty painless process.
Pretty much.
Yeah. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and take this time now that I'm starting to bubble. I'm going to add my dumplings and my gnocchi to it. You never want to add the peas until the very end.
Yeah.
Because I don't know how you guys feel, but I hate brown peas.
Yeah, can't say I'm a big fan.
No, I can't stand them. I don't know what it is. It's one of those like mental glitches I have. If the peas aren't bright green, I don't want them. I would argue that goes for most vegetables, though.
True. Yeah. Usually brown vegetables are not super desirable.
Yeah, no, for whatever reason, I can't do it. So, all right, you got your dumplings in, or you're adding your dumplings. You got your biscuit dough chopped up and you're putting it in there?
Yes, I'm going at it right now.
All right. So one of the most important things, man, is to make sure like boiling was fine until we get to this point. Make sure it doesn't boil anymore.
Okay.
Because boiling's like super aggressive, right? So it'll tear apart your dumplings, believe it or not. And especially since you're using a raw dough, you will end up with a million tiny dumplings instead of a good handful of big and tender and doughy and all those other great adjectives that describe dumplings. You won't have those. You just have tiny little fragments everywhere.
It's not fun.
No, it's not. It's not good. It doesn't work out that way. So once this comes up to temperature, I'm going to go ahead and add my chicken. But I got about 30 seconds till that happens. I can see it starting to simmer just a little bit. Look at Ryan. He's like a craftsman over there. Take such care.
I don't know if I'd go that far.
I think he just wanted to one up me, right? He's like, I'll show him using prefabricated gnocchi. But no, seriously though, like biscuit dough is not overly hard to make.
No.
But again, if you're just starting out, you need a quick recipe to kind of get your feet wet. The gnocchi is definitely preferred, and you can buy them at any grocery store, really. They're actually quite good, in any pasta sauce. But for this recipe, I think it's a pretty inventive way to use them, and they check all the boxes as far as dumplings are concerned. So they're pretty wonderful. And
yeah, this is like
you got a busy work schedule, or you got. Go ahead.
Oh, I was just gonna say this is like
What'd you say, brother?
The second time I've pretty much ever made biscuit dough. I think the only other time was in our pastries class.
Nice.
Yeah, literally took probably 8 minutes. It's like 3-4 ingredients. Yeah,
no, it's easy. What's funny about that though is like biscuit dough is very simple, but it's not easy to make great biscuits.
Yeah.
It's something I've been battling for years. It's like an affliction I can't get over. I still haven't made those biscuits that like I really want. And I'll be honest with you, I want Bojangles biscuits.
Yep.
Are you guys familiar with Bojangles at all?
I've never had it.
Bojangles is a subpar fast food chain in the South, but I'll be honest with you, they have amazing biscuits. But what I've come to find out about their biscuits is they use a lot of additives and tons of Crisco and things like that I'm not really comfortable using. Not a big fan of hydrogenated fats.
Yeah, not good for you. Very
not
bad.
so much. Not so much. So, all right, I got a good simmer over here. I'm going to turn my heat down just a little bit because I don't want this to turn into a rolling boil. And I want to go ahead and add my chicken in. And right here, I have a rotisserie chicken. The grocery store, what they do is they sell rotisserie chickens for like $6. But then if they don't sell them, they cool them down. They pick the meat off. So this one's already picked. So it's even less labor for full rotisserie chicken. But this guy just comes in a container all ripped up, ready to go. I can dump that. So with your biscuit dough, buddy, be very careful stirring that. You don't want to stir it too hard, okay?
Yeah.
You just want to gently kind of flip them around. Now, actually, when your grandma made this, did she boil a raw chicken and then take it out and strip the meat off and do all that stuff?
Yes, and she would make her own dumpling batter or spoon it in.
Of course. That's the all day affair. That's if you love what you're doing, right? And that takes a long time to do, but I tell you, the results are worth it. I think this is a good second place, especially since we're going to have less than a half hour in it. But there's nothing like grandma's cooking where she puts in all that labor. Like magic seasoning in their fingers, to be honest with you. I'm pretty sure my grandma had a big bucket of MSG under her counter.
Oh, absolutely. I'm a big fan of MSG. I mean, it gets a little bit too much hate.
So Ryan, you can go ahead and add your black pepper anytime now.
All right.
I want to try to do it with my phone in my hand, knock it off my phone. Dumplings. You're a big fan of what?
When we were talking about MSG, I said I'm a big fan of MSG. I think it gets a little bit too much hate.
Okay.
hear me? I think you're starting to break up again.
Overheat or Wi-Fi?
I think it's overeating again. Ashley, do you have any specific, like, super memorable dishes that you've made in your classes? Like, do you have a favorite in terms of that?
Ooh. Honestly, probably the sauteed chicken and a la carte.
Okay.
So we used an airline chicken breast and sauteed it skin on. But the sauce for it's fiends herb, and it's so good.
Sounds good.
And then it's served with parsley. Oh, chef's trying to get back in again.
Oh. All right, there we go. Third time's a charm.
There we go.
There we go.
All right, I'm
back.
back. I'm back. I made it. My phone overheated again, but I saved it before it got too hot. This is what happens when you try to videotape your pot the whole time, right? I should stay back like you. Ryan's just steady one up on me the whole time. Hey, can you take your phone over to your pot? I want to take a look at what you have going on.
Absolutely.
I'm going to stand back and keep a safe distance.
Oh, there we go.
Okay, you're looking at, you can get a little closer if you could. You added your ham already and your chicken?
Yep, ham, chicken, dumplings, all, pretty much everything.
Beautiful. Okay, so you need to add the cream and the peas yet, right?
Yes.
All right. So I want you to wait a little bit longer than me because your dumplings are going to take a little bit longer to cook. Mine are already fully cooked.
Right.
So you can see how mine's thickened up already. I got a really nice creamy velouté there. And the longer I let this cook, the more starch it's going to borrow from the gnocchi and thicken the sauce. But I'm at a point now where I can finish up, and I'm going to add my peas, and I'm going to add my heavy cream just because it's wintertime and we need to pack on some pounds. Got to have that insulation. I'm going to stir it up. And then I'm going to let this simmer literally like another 2 to 3 minutes, and we are good to go. I should probably taste it too, huh? Maybe. I don't know. Tasting's kind of optional, right? Beautiful. All right. So I'm in great shape over here. And again, I'm going to let this simmer for just a couple minutes so everything comes up to temp. I want to thicken just a little more, and then I'm going to serve it to my kids because they're famished. Have you tasted yours yet?
Yes. Pretty good so far.
Nice. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to cut into your dumplings and make sure they're cooked all the way through.
Okay.
What happens is if you don't simmer them long enough, then the inside stays raw and it gets real weird.
And we're looking good.
Right on. It's good stuff. Cool, cool. So now you can add your peas and cream, bring it back up to temp, brother, and you can get down. I don't remember where to put my phone. Good. Good. And there's my product.
Yeah, it looks fantastic.
Thanks, brother. It's pretty good if I do say so myself. Again, super easy, super cheap. You don't have to be a culinary master to do this. And you can provide something really good. This is like Sunday afternoon football food, fall, winter in Ohio. There's not a lot better than this, I assure you.
Absolutely.
It's the warm hug of hospitality, brother. That's what it comes down to. Have you finished yours off?
What did you say?
Have you finished yours off yet?
Yeah, I'm just going to come back up to temp, so I'll probably be ready in a minute or so.
Beautiful. I'm going to see it before we depart, and then we'll hang up, all right?
Sweet. Sounds good. I'll plate it up.
Ashley, you cool?
Looks so much better than my dinner tonight.
What's your dinner tonight?
I had macaroni and cheese from Kraft in the microwave.
From Kraft? In the microwave?
Yeah.
It's so funny what we eat at culinary school. You know, I used to steal bread from the Grand Buffet. And after dinner time, like we'd eat dinner at like 5 o'clock, right? Well, being like a 23, 24-year-old male, like I was always starving by like 8 or 9 o'clock. And so I didn't have a lot of cash because I was a poor college student. I would go steal all the leftover bread. And then I always had a jar. Oh, that looks awesome, Ryan.
Thank you.
Yeah. You pretty pumped up about that or what?
Oh, I'm so excited. Like you don't understand how excited I am to just chow down on
I think that's fantastic. Can we watch you eat it?
Yeah, you want to just watch me for the next hour, just chow down?
Yeah. We're just gonna watch you next. Just slam it down, brother. Slam it down.
Yeah.
That's awesome. So anyway, Ashley, I would steal bread, and then I would always have a jar of tomato sauce in my fridge, and I would dip my bread in tomato sauce, and that was my snack for like 2 years. So don't feel bad about your Kraft mac and cheese.
And a lot of Kraft and a lot of cup of noodles.
Yeah. Well, that's how it goes, right? I mean, that's the college dream. That's what we do. All right, good. Listen, hey, I got to feed my kids. They're staring at me right now, and it's getting a little uncomfortable. I'm pretty sure they're probably going to take a bite out of my leg if I don't give them a bowl of something. Ryan, listen, man, thanks for playing along. I appreciate it. Always a pleasure. Great job on that. It looks freaking amazing. Ashley, we love you as always. Thanks for tuning in. I hope you guys have a great night.
Yeah, thank you very much. Thanks for showing us how to do this.
Yeah, no worries, man. My pleasure, truly.
All right, well, see you around.
All right, guys. We'll talk soon.
Yep,
Later, guys.
See ya. Bye.
Bye.